Hello and welcome to The Actor and the Engineer. My name is Paul James. I am the actor.
And my name's Josh Knapp. I'm the broadcast engineer.
All right, here we go, Josh.
It's Oscarcast time. So everybody else is doing their picks, what they think will win and what they want to win. So, we thought we'd do it too because we've been doing it for 11 years, 12, 11 years, 11 years, I think.
Yeah.
It's a while. So we'll start with screenplays, kind of move into actors, actresses, and then director and picture. So, all right. Original screenplay. So the nominees are Blue Moon, written by Robert Kaplow. It Was Just an Accident, written by Jafar Panahi and a bunch of other people. Marty Supreme, written by Ronald Bronstein and Josh Safdie. Sentimental Value, written by Eskil Vogt and Joachim Trier. And Sinners, written by Ryan Coogler. What do you think?
Who will win? Sinners.
You think okay. All right. I think that he totally should win for that. But I was wondering if I don't know how the Oscars do this. Do they will save certain things for people? Because I think that we'll talk about it when we get to director and picture. He's in the race for director as
100%.
well. 100%. And the picture is in the race for picture.
100%.
So I didn't know if they were going to try, because don't they usually try to give a screenplay award to a movie that they want more people to see, or that people are like, oh, you know what, we should. Not necessarily.
No,
I guess
not
if they
necessarily.
run the table, yeah.
Two words: Pulp Fiction.
But it didn't win anything but original screenplay.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So I'm not saying no. First of all, we're going to talk about who we think will win and who we would vote for. That's how it's broken out. Second of all, I will say this, and I will repeat this throughout the podcast. This is an impossible year. It's a great year for movies.
It's a really good year.
It's impossible. There are categories that are impossible. And this is the first year in a long time where I don't have clear vision, where I don't see exactly who will win and exactly what might possibly win, because there's so many variables. Now, I'm not saying I'm always correct, but my track record's pretty good.
It's very good, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. And usually it's early on that I can predict things. I just see things. And so who knows? I think that Sinners being nominated having 16 nominations, that it will not go down in Oscar history as the most lost. They will win something. It might be casting. Okay, it might be costume. It might be film editing.
Score.
It could be score. It could be all of those, right? Or it could just be one. Okay, and if it is just one, we'll get to that a little bit later. But here's why I say Ryan Coogler deserves to win the Oscar, or will win the Oscar, and he's also who I would vote for. Sentimental Value is great. It Was Just an Accident I have not seen. Blue Moon is very wordy, and I can't wait to see it. And it could go to that. I believe that's the foreign language winner.
It is. It also won the Palme d'Or.
Yeah. And that usually is a precedence. That usually sets a precedence, and that usually garners.
Fiction won the Palme d'Or.
Correct. So all of that to say, it's a hard thing to answer. There are categories and nominations that anybody on the list who wins, I'll be completely happy for, ecstatic and excited for. No matter who wins in Best Supporting Actress, we'll get there in just a few minutes, I will be ecstatic and happy for. So really what we're doing is not relevant. It's irrelevant because I mean, technically it's not. Usually it's like, hey, this person should win. I'm very animated about it.
We know that this person's not going to win and they should type of a thing. Yeah.
And Olivia Colman will win. What? People called me nuts. They were like, what? Yeah. And I believe if we go back and listen to the favorite podcast, it shocked you. Because I was like, there's your best.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it. Yeah.
No, I immediately. So that said, I believe this is the hardest screenplay. And now screenplay connotates a lot of things. It's not just the words. It's not just the narrative. It's everything. It's that vampire jumping up over and that vampire jumping into frame, the shots, everything's in the screenplay. So that said, it's the hardest screenplay to pull off. And that means, in my opinion, that it was the hardest one to write because it's so dense and so filled. I was talking with friends last night, and they said, you really need to see it a couple times. I said, I've seen it twice. And they were like, yeah, you really do need to see it a couple times because there's so many themes and so many things going on that he pulls it off. You have a Parliament and Funkadelic guitar player that walks through the middle of the screen at one time. What? I mean, and you can sense and feel what Wamni Musaku said about the screenplay. She said when she won the BAFTA, I can feel the ancestors in the room. Thank you, Ryan Coogler. And I believe she's right. You can feel this sense of history and this sense of people that we're all connected to and that we have a collective history with this. And at the same time, it's also a vampire movie. So I will repeat this also. How did he get away with it? So I think he will win, and I would vote for him.
Yeah. I think that Blue Moon is the most screenplay-y of the screenplays. But it also felt to me, because I did just watch it this week, it also felt to me like it was very Lego set based. You know, it was kind of like, it's like, well, we got to put this piece on, we got to put this piece on, we got to put that piece on. And it's like, oh, look, there's the piece that talks about X and the piece that talks about Y. So, yeah, but I mean, like, performances were great, and I'm sure we'll get to that here in a little bit. But yeah, it was just an accident. Don't sleep on that because
I won't.
It's doing a lot of work. It's really doing a lot of work with not a lot of window dressing. And then and then we've talked about the other films pretty extensively. So I would agree that Sinners should win. And then I mean I think that it would be pretty awesome if Sinners won and it kept it going. I don't want that to be Sinners only win though. Oof.
No. Right. If it does win, yeah, I agree. Now, I will say this after all of that I will not be surprised if Sentimental Value wins. I won't, because it's a great screenplay. It just is a great screenplay. So my heart is with Ryan Coogler on Oscar night, and I went back and listened to our Sinners podcast, and we are all about that movie. And I mentioned the Oscar a few times in that podcast. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Best adapted screenplay: Begonia, written by Will Tracy; Frankenstein, written by Guillermo del Toro; Hamnet, written by Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell; One Battle After Another, written by Paul Thomas Anderson; and Train Dreams, written by Clint Bentley and Greg Cuidar. Very quickly, Clint Bentley and Greg Cuidar were the team that did Sing Sing last year. Yeah, and they have a deal where they TikTok back and forth. So Greg Cuidar directed Sing Sing, and Clint Bentley directed Train Dreams, which when I found that, I was like, wait, I recognize that Greg Cuidar name. Oh, okay. He was the director of Sing Sing last year. So I thought that was really cool. So, all right, what do you think best adapted screenplay?
There can be only one.
One Battle After Another.
Correct. Yeah. Will win, should win.
Yeah, I agree.
The list it's impossible. It's impossible to pick.
I mean, Hamnet was... I just watched Hamnet today. Hamnet's screenplay, it's very well done. And I think that you put that right up next to Blue Moon, and they're kind of the same. Like, there are certain scenes in each one. It's like that let's play the hits type of a thing. And I think that Hamnet did it way better than Blue Moon. So,
what she did was she interjected Shakespeare, and very well-known Shakespeare, not off the wall. It's not. There's a few things in there that Shakespeare
like deep
people,
cuts,
if you will, not much, just a few. And I can't think of one right now.
Well, I was kind of amazed at how much Shakespeare and how much Hamnet specifically has injected itself into our culture, not even popular culture, just like normal speech. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is Shakespeare. It's like, this is crazy.
Cruel to be kind, neither a lender nor a borrower be. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. To be or not to be. And people. I mean,
those are the classic ones. Yeah. But just like in general, like I just felt like I would hear something and I'd be like, oh yeah, that is totally,
And some of it's really very popular Shakespeare, and she injects it in a way that it's not hokey, it's not overbearing, it's not. So it's a great screenplay. I just think that Paul Thomas Anderson is walking away with 2 Oscars, no doubt about it. And I think it's this one. And I think this is one of them. Might be 3, but I think this is one of them.
Might be 3, but I think that you're right. It's probably
It's a fight.
at least 2. Yeah, it's probably
It's a
at
fight.
least 2.
This is a
All
fight
right.
this year.
Okay, where are we going next? Are we doing supporting actor?
Yeah, let's do supporting actor. Yeah, sure.
Supporting actor. We've got Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. I'll go first. I think that Delroy Lindo should win, but I think that Sean Penn might win. Because Sean Penn just won, didn't he win the BAFTA? And he won the Screen Actors Guild or whatever they're calling it now, the Actor Award.
The Actor Award. Yeah.
So, and he wasn't even at the Actor Award. Like, it's like Sean Penn's kind of like, guys, it's fine. Don't worry about me.
Well, he didn't show up for like his first 2 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
He showed up for the first one that he won, and then he showed up for the Mystic River.
Okay.
And then he showed up for Milk. But I don't think he was there for any of the other ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I think that, I would love to entertain Benicio del Toro for this Oscar.
The little dance at the end.
The dance with the
So
ghee.
great. That's
and
so
a few
good.
small beers. I mean, that is, like, they've figured out a way. He figured out a way, him and Paul Thomas Anderson, but mainly him, figured out a way to imbue that character with something unique. And to make a character that didn't have to be as impactful on the screen. And he has like such a quiet calm and an intensity that I don't know many actors that could really handle that and could come in and do that role and be that impactful and then just kind of like, float away into the ether.
And be real. He comes across as a real person. When he's doing his little walk into the, I just saw it again. When he's doing his little walk into the apartment at first, and then he kind of stops and he realizes he has to be polite and introduce everybody. This is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is, and then it's just so sharp. It's not a standout. Like, I don't know if I thought of Oscar nomination when I first saw the film, because whatever, I mean, it's not that important in the long run. But I did think, what's he doing? Like,
so what about Paul Mescal? I mean, just watching Hamnet today, I just watched it. So I would think that they probably pushed him to be supporting actor, right?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, when you compare him to Benicio del Toro as far as like, one of these two is gonna be, 2 men in or 1 man leaves. Like, what would you think?
Well,
if you put them next to each other.
Well, obviously they thought Benicio del Toro because he's on the list. But that said, they're just 2 different performances. It bodes well for the argument of why would you have people compete? Because Paul Mescal's performance is hunkered down in truth and just depth.
Also, Chloe Zhao asks him to do a lot with the amount of time he's on screen, because he's not on screen as much as Jesse Buckley, rightfully so. But that to be or not to be speech could have gone, me being a pretty cynical person, like that could have gone real bad.
Yeah.
Like it could have been very cringy and very just like, oh no, you're doing it. But I felt something.
With his back to the camera. His back is to the camera. It does swing around, but his back.
And also, there's no light. That was the other thing. It's like, oh my gosh.
The water, it's so good.
The cinematography was a little bit annoying to me, but there was no light. But that being said, like, I think that it actually helped. It actually helped it to be like, he didn't have a spotlight on him. He wasn't like, asked to emote in a specific way. It was just kind of like he was really going through it in his head. And because he's William Shakespeare, he just kind of came up with it, that is, and I believed it. So, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I just, apples and oranges. They're both standout performances. They're just different. There's no way to compare them. What Benicio del Toro does is it's just unique. It's only he, only that movie, only that character, only him. And
Yeah.
Paul Mescal is he's just sharp. And what I said about injecting Shakespeare into the movie, he handles it extremely well. He handles Ghost of Hamlet's father later on very well too. I liked that whole costume design. I liked the way he handled it. He had that
cool.
infinite sadness in his face. Anyway, back to the men
Oh,
who are.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, that reminded me of what's the Julie Taymor Titus? It reminded me of that. There's like a whole thing where somebody was all crusted. But tell me why Delroy Lindo is gonna win and why he should win.
That's an interesting question because he's Delroy Lindo and it's his first Oscar nomination and he's awesome. And he does things in that film only he could do. And only he could do it the way he does it. And I know I just said that about Benicio del Toro, but I often refer to, and I've referred to it in conversations a couple of times, the garlic eating scene in Sinners, which I just watched again last week. That whole over the top thing that he does, where you think
it's the thing scene.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the podcast originally, and I said only he could do something like that because you think, no, he's not. He's faking it. Why is he doing that? Oh, he doesn't like garlic. And then at the end, he swallows it and he goes and brushes it away. And he makes this sound, or he makes a sub-vocal noise. And it's just a really genuine, organic response. And you believe him. He is a character that if he didn't play it, probably could have been written out of the screenplay and nobody would have known the difference. But because the way Delroy Lindo plays it, it became an Oscar-nominated performance. Now, I have said for years he has deserved other Oscar nominations. Da 5 Bloods is the big one. All the way back to Crooklyn. That's where I came to know his name. And I was a little weary of him for the longest time because of his character in Crooklyn. He's not a bad person, but he is definitely a very specific human being that I'm not so sure I would get along with in the world. But at the same time, I had sympathy for him. So the man's the man. I mean, he's amazing. And now, for whatever reason, and it always happens this way, there's very certain patterns to the Oscars. There's usually a front runner, and then there's all of a sudden somebody on his heels, and there's always somebody who's going to split the vote. That said, it could very easily go to Stellan Skarsgård because people love him. He won the Golden Globe.
He was winning early on, yeah.
Yeah, he was winning early on. None of that matters in the long run. It matters when somebody checks off the ballot. But Stellan Skarsgård and Sean Penn could split the vote, and Delroy Lindo could win. Nice. Here's the impossible answer to the question. It's impossible to answer this question for me. I almost want to sit on the sidelines and not answer who I think will win and who I think should win or who I would vote for, because I can't really answer this question because I'm going to stick to my original thoughts and guts, and it's probably going to surprise a few people. I think Sean Penn will win, and I would vote for Sean Penn.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
It breaks my heart because it breaks my heart because I want to say Delroy Lindo because if he wins, I will be over the moon. I will be so happy. But I saw one battle after another again, and what Sean Penn does is, and I've said this already, impossible to get away with. It just does not seem like it should work. It should be very caricaturist, and it is, but it is also hunkered down in a real human being, albeit a bad human being. And the walk and the voice and the things he does with his lips throughout the entire film, and he completely uses as a motif and in certain places that look on his face when she goes, "Why is your shirt so tight?" It's amazing. He's amazing. And so whoever wins, I will be super happy for. And if it's Delroy Lindo, it will be a precedence setter because he's won really nothing else. Sure. I'm not sure about all the other like Austin City critics and the Houston and the
New York Film Critics.
Right. No, I don't think he's won any of those. But there's like a Dublin and an England, or there's a whole bunch of them. L.A., blah, 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 blah. I don't know how many he's won. And usually when somebody like him does win, I'll go back and I go, oh, he's won quite a few things. I just didn't recognize the pattern until too late. So that said, I think Sean Penn will win, and I would vote for Sean Penn.
Wow.
I would.
All right. Well, you know, and Sean Penn does an amazing job of being like, he gets across the fact that he's a completely like insecure and scared person.
Yeah.
But his demeanor is the exact opposite. Yeah. Except for when he's around, he's very demure when he's around the Christmas Adventurers Club, and he's like in awe. He's like a little kid, you know, when he's literally like a little kid when he's there, you know.
Yeah. So we had to walk you through the back way. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay.
Yep.
That's all right. No. And
he like licks the comb and
okay, I'm feeling a little bit better. I just have waited so long for Delroy Lindo to be on the list that I'm shocked that I'm not saying I wouldn't vote for him. And you know what? It's impossible. Can we have a tie? Don't give me a tie, because I'm going to take it every chance. I'm taking it all the way straight down to
like
Best
a
Picture.
5-way tie.
Yeah, a 5-way tie. And you know what? Whoever wins, I'll be okay with it.
All right. Okay, Best Supporting Actress, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Inga Ibstadar-Lilius for Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners, and Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another.
I fold.
Okay.
I fold. There's no way. There is no way to answer this question. And if you really had a ballot in front of you, how would you do? How?
I think it'd just be a dartboard, and whichever one it hit, that's who I'd vote for.
Give me a pen. I'm gonna put it over here and do it now. You're right. Yes, that's exactly. You know what? You're exactly right. This one is heartbreaking. Also, I don't know how to answer this question, and I'm not using it as an scapegoat. And I'm not saying that I can't answer the question. And I'm being funny, but I've been thinking about it since the nominations came out, and recently all week, because I knew we were doing this, and I cannot come up with a definitive answer to these problems.
The good thing about this is that this is actually a truly, like, every actress in this category was an actual supporting actress. This is not category fraud, because Wunmi Mosaku was in, you know, a third of the movie, maybe the middle third of the movie, and had some amazing scenes, some very impactful scenes. Teyana Taylor was in 45 minutes of the movie?
No, she's
30
in 22
minutes?
22 minutes. I looked it up.
So, I mean, and she makes her presence known in that movie. Amy Madigan doesn't come in until well over halfway through the movie. Like, you don't see her like full on until
you actually see her in the very first 2 minutes of the movie, though.
Oh, with the scare or whatever? Or
nope, none of those.
First 2
no,
minutes?
not the Fight Club scenes. No.
Okay.
There is a shot of the kid on a couch being talked to by the police, and the narration is going, and you see the side of her.
The kid.
Correct.
The wig. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Inga Ibstadar-Lilius, and we talked about it when we were on the podcast, right? I just said, like, I was like, I don't get this. Like, she wasn't even in the movie until like the end of the movie, like the last 20 minutes. So, or last 30 minutes, but and Elle Fanning kind of comes and goes. So I think that all of those actresses, they have to make their presence known, and I think they all did, and I think they all deserve to be on here. All of that being said, I think that Teyana Taylor is going to win, and I think that I'm going back and forth. It would be really cool for Weapons to win an Academy Award, considering this is the only nomination for Weapons. I mean, this would be the one.
It's the only nomination it deserves.
Yeah, and it's Amy Madigan, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Screenplay?
Maybe.
Cinematography?
No.
Directing?
I mean, maybe. But I'd say screenplay would have been a place to. Not directing. It's not directing.
All right, so you just knocked out every one that they could possibly be nominated for when I
Okay,
said this
fine.
is the only one that it should be nominated for. You're like,
okay.
well, not that one, not that one, not that one,
I
not that one,
didn't-
not
yeah,
that one.
maybe I didn't think
The
that through.
machine
Okay.
gun over the house, animation.
Oh, the visual effects. No, that actually didn't look that good to me. But um, so I think that the heavy hitters are Wunmi Musaku, Amy Madigan, and Tiana Taylor. So, and I know you extolled Elle Fanning, and her performance as like pretty much impossible to give, but it didn't resonate with me as much as those other three. So, what do you
That's
think?
why I think it's impressive because it isn't something that pops off the screen like you would think when it comes to Oscar nominations. And that I kind of like. I like that. And that's why I like Inga Ipstadter Lilius's performance because it doesn't do anything but what it does. It's a real person. She has real moments. She's genuine, organic. And I told you I'd get her name, didn't I? I got
You
it.
did.
Didn't
It was
I?
first time.
Yeah,
First time, best time.
Yeah, I got it. I've been practicing. I've been rehearsing, sort of, but not really, but kind of. Anyway, that said, once again, this is an impossible category to predict. Amy Madigan won the Critics' Choice Award, the SAG Award. Tiana Taylor won the Golden Globe. Wamni Musaku won the BAFTA. So it's split all the way. That's the same way with the supporting actor category, by the way. That's split all over the place because Stellan Skarsgård won the Golden Globe, Jacob Elordi won the Critics. Sean Penn did win two pretty big cursors. Benicio del Toro's won a lot of those smaller ones the ones that we don't track. I wouldn't say smaller ones, but the one, you have 32 wins of a performance. They count. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that said, Amy Madigan will win. Oh my gosh. And I have been debating this for the last hour. What am I going to record for history? And I'm going to go with my gut. Amy Madigan will win, and I would vote for Wamni Musaku.
Okay.
Because of that first scene in Sinners.
With her and him. And
It's soul crushing how much depth that she has. Let me say something really quick. Tiana Taylor was my jam. Because remember, I could not shut up about her in One Battle After Another. And I said on that podcast, there's your supporting actress. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong on some level. But I cannot and I could not pronounce Wamni Musaku's name at the time. And I didn't want to be disrespectful during our podcast. So I very much kind of skirted around her performance, but she has that intangible quality that I go, Olivia Colman, like they're that intangible thing. And so I think that it would be fun and really great that Amy Madigan won, and it is a stellar performance. It's scary. She gets your sympathy. She's just, I mean, what?
she's a villain that has an arc too.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
that's not necessarily always the case.
And I don't know how much was her, how much the design of her, but all of the thing that she does is her. So it's indelible. That is a character that people will dress up for the rest of the Halloweens for the rest of our lives. That will be talked about, how she got away with such a caricature performance. But when she turns to him, when he comes into the room and she's not wearing the wig for the first time, she's got the little braids in her hair, and she's like, I thought your parents were going to do something for me, but I need more. You kind of are like, give her what she wants. I feel so bad for her. But she's talking about kidnapping 17 children, and keeping them hostages. So it's a great performance. So whoever wins, I'll be happy with. It's an impossible scenario. So I'm just going to stick with Amy Madigan and Wamni Musaku.
Okay. Best Actor, Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. I did see.
Go-
I've seen all of these. I've seen
Yay.
everything. It was definitely a death race to get to the end, to where I'm at right now. But yeah, I mean, I saw Blue Moon and The Secret Agent within the last week. So, and we've talked about the other films at length. So I will say that I'm between Timothy Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan. I really did enjoy Leonardo DiCaprio's performance, but I think that it's not actually a feat of acting for Leonardo DiCaprio to do that. And maybe that's not right, that I'm like, well, I expect this from him, but
Let me interject. When
Yeah.
it's this tight and this hard to pick, those things can count for me.
yeah. Yeah, and Ethan Hawke, I know, like, he laid it all out there, and he was not an Ethan Hawke that I've seen before. So that is something that I can say that is definitely a positive. But the bent of the movie just kind of turned me off. Like the concept of the movie just kind of turned me off. And it's like, and they shot it in 15 days, and it's like, you can tell. And it's just it's like a rotating casting couch, and that was rough for me. I wasn't as big of a fan. And actually, Secret Agent, I wasn't as big a fan of that movie either. Like,
Tonally, it's weird. Tonally, it's
Yeah.
strange.
and I understand though. Like, I mean, you look at that, the tone shifts all over the place in that movie, and the tone shifts all over the place in Sinners. The tone shifts all over the place in One Battle After Another. You put all three of those movies up next to each other, and two of them rise to the top for me. And it's not The Secret Agent, but I think Wagner Moore was fine in it. But I mean, he had a lot to do. He was on screen a lot. And his character was a sympathetic character. But I mean, when you look at what Michael B. Jordan did with playing two characters and differentiating those two characters, not just by wearing something different, but by how he carried himself, his speech mannerisms, and
The way he
and
smoked.
yes, like, there were nuances that were not lost by even me. So that and Timothy Chalamet playing Marty Mauser in Marty Supreme, that character is also a difficult character. It's a tough character for someone. I mean, he's been acting for what, 12 years or something, or I don't know. He's been acting for a long time, so it's not like he's not seen different characters. But I think that he was able to take on the movie on his back and carry it across the finish line. And so that, I think, does have to be recognized as well. He has to float between being immature and being confident, and being someone who can gain the attention of a Gwyneth Paltrow, and that's very difficult. So I think that for me, I think that Timothy Chalamet is gonna win, and I think I would pick Timothy Chalamet. I think I would. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I also
agree.
think Michael B. Jordan has more in him, and I don't know what Timothy Chalamet has in him, but I really don't. But we'll see. But I foresee Michael B. Jordan acting for a very, very long time.
He already has been. He's been acting since he was a kid.
Well, he was in The Wire, and he was in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, and they just showed a clip of a Keanu Reeves movie where he's like 10 years old in it.
Really?
Where he plays
oh my gosh.
baseball. Yeah. Something about.
Wow. Was it
he lied
Hardball?
about it.
Is that what it is?
Is that
Was
the
it a
name
comedy or something? Yeah.
No, I don't.
Keanu Reeves
don't know.
played a head coach of a kids team in Hardball.
It might
Maybe
be that
was
one.
it. Okay.
But
anyway.
he's barely recognizable, Michael B. Jordan, because he's so young. So I agree with everything you said. I love how succinct you were. I love how articulate you were. I will say the thing about Ethan Hawke is he's the only oxygen in the room in that movie, and I found myself suffocating.
Qualley. Margaret
No,
Qualley.
No. I'm not saying nobody else has
She
oxygen.
takes over that movie.
She does take so
the last
I would
30
have rather
minutes.
it all be in that coat room. That's what I was
yeah.
getting ready to. That's what but she's not in that room. She's in the coat room with him. She's not
Yeah.
in the bar as much as everybody.
No.
She's barely in the bar. She comes in
That's
and then
right.
leaves and then comes back and they go into the coat room. So my initial statement stands. He gives the movie oxygen. The rest of the movie feels like it's like fading in front of your eyes. The room feels like it's falling in, it's deteriorating, and it's like this dystopian thing is happening. Everything just doesn't, it just vibe with what he's doing. And I didn't like the trickery that they were using. I just think it's, and when you said Lego movie, I was like, oh my God, is he mentioning that because that guy was so like
Short?
small? Yeah.
Not
I was
leg.
like, yeah, I know. I got it. But, Legos are not big.
That's
Little Lego
okay.
people
Yeah, I
are
see
not
what you're
big.
saying.
So I was like,
gotcha.
okay, that's kind of clever, but also rude. But that's not you. So I knew that's not what you meant. But yeah, and so that movie is not as interesting to me as I thought it could have been. And because he was so great, it was interesting, and I got through it. Wagner Mara, that movie has that like beginning, middle, front, stop, go upside down. It's all disjointed, and you're trying to figure it out. And I don't think it comes together. I don't think the puzzle pieces come together like they should.
Yep.
That said, I did enjoy that movie, and I do like those performances where they're just real people who can walk off the screen. And I don't know how sustainable and how easy that is. A lot of things that I've done, not to compare myself to any of these people, there's like over the top character traits that I can cling on to. And he's just a real person in a real situation dealing with hiding certain things. And when I realized how much he was really hiding, I was like, oh, that's clever. That's a really interesting performance because he's been hiding these things, because you don't believe he's the secret agent for the first hour and a half of the movie. And then later on, you're like, oh, he really was. And then you're really convinced with the son at the end, who's him playing the son later on. So yeah, it's a great performance. Leonardo DiCaprio, I agree with you 100%. But I will say in any other year, I might vote for him because I really do enjoy that performance. I really do that phone call. And then when he comes back to him later on, he's like, yeah, listen here. I love that.
Comrade Josh.
Yeah. Timothée Chalamet, we love him. He's kind of stepped into it out in the public recently, made some comments about some stuff that I was like, okay, he's young.
I didn't hear
Yeah,
about it.
he said some stuff, and he'll learn from it, I hope. But he just has to maintain and contain. It just was like a weird thing for him to say. It wasn't anything majorly offensive, except for the people it was offensive to. He made a comment about ballet and opera being forms of art that people really don't want to involve themselves in anymore. And it was really kind of it came across very elitist and very flippant. And it's like, yeah, okay. Some guy came on Facebook and said, yeah, I run a ballet company. I'll see you in 20 years. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't see you. I'll see your AI counterpart that you sold your soul to get money from. And I'll be doing live opera when people are coming to live shows. And in a way, that guy, I think, is correct. I think AI will take over so much that we'll be thirsty for live stuff, concerts and theater, and people will go in droves to those things because they want real stuff. They need real stuff. We will always
the medium's always changed. The
Absolutely.
popular medium has always changed.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
that being said, there are still traveling theater shows, just like
Absolutely.
there was in the 1700s, and just like there was
Absolutely.
at the turn of the century, and
and they're
Babylon.
huge.
And
Yeah, those touring shows that come, all of those big musicals that come around, they sell out. Sometimes you can't get a ticket to them. You just can't.
Yeah.
So that said, I think what he does in Marty Supreme, we were all about it. The movie has started to weigh on me a little bit, though. It's a little bit crazy, and I'm not sure how much I want to see it again. So if he wins, I'll be okay with it because I get why people would want him to win. But I think Michael B. Jordan will win, and I would vote for Michael B. Jordan.
All right.
Here's why. Because you said, I was talking with somebody at work today, and he goes, well, he played 3 characters. And I go, no, he plays twins. And he goes, no, he didn't. He played Smoke, Stack, and Vampire Stack. Stack.
that's
And I go,
true.
you're right. And he goes, those are 3 very distinctive characters because he's not the same guy when he's the vampire. And I was like, okay, that's who will win, Michael B. Jordan. And you know what? I was saying earlier that if Sinners wins 1 Oscar and loses all 15 of the other ones, this is the one that will make up for it all.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's going to be such a triumphant win if he wins that, and such a deserved win. Now, I would like to see it take 10 of them, right? Just because. But if it doesn't win anything else and it wins this one, the headline will be Michael B. Jordan, Academy Award winner, not it lost 15 Oscars. It'll be it won this one. So
Yeah.
I'm all about it. So we'll
Wow,
see.
that's great. That's great. Best Actress, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renata Reinsve for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Begonia. All right, you go.
There is only one. Jessie Buckley will win.
Okay, I agree with you. I just saw Hamnet. There's a lot to do in that movie, and she does it all. She has a nature birth, and I felt all of it. She goes through a lot. I don't want to give any spoilers for Hamnet, but for people who don't know anything about Hamnet, but she goes through a lot. And the way that Chloe Zhao shoots Jessie Buckley is so like caring. It's very close, and it's very intimate, but it's not intimate in the like in your like the camera's very close to Jessie Buckley's face for a lot of the movie, but it doesn't feel intrusive. It feels accepting, and it feels like understanding. And
Because
so,
of her.
Yeah.
Because of Jessie Buckley.
Yeah.
And so she will win, and I would vote for her. I can't even think about her without getting a lump in my throat about I can't see that movie again. I just saw a clip from it, and I was like, I can't do it anytime soon.
Yeah.
I'm an emotional person. I give myself over to that. But I agree with everything that you said. I don't know how hard or easy or whatever. We've talked about this a million times before. Walking through a door and going, "Hi, what's up?" is sometimes really difficult because it's the thing you do every day. And then trying to act like you just broke your leg is easy. That's why in the end, the Oscars are fun, and it's like a great thing to talk about, and is a great way to see new movies. And we've talked about this before too. It brings us to different movies that we might not have seen in our lifetime if it wasn't for the Oscars. But in the long run, you can't really compare performances. You just can't, because who's to say Renata Reinsve in the beginning of Sentimental Value didn't do more in that first 10-minute scene than anybody else in this category did? Who's to say that when Rose Byrne is talking to the support group and she's like, "It's our fault. It's our fault." Okay, I'm not supposed to say that. And that's a horrible imitation of what she did, but I'm almost afraid to engage in it because it was so tough. So if you're looking at qualities and what makes something more difficult or harder to do, if that's how you categorize somebody should win an Oscar, I get that. But there is a spirit and an intangibility to Jessie Buckley's character, Agnes, right?
It's like
I can't. It's spelled.
Agnes.
It's spelled Agnes, but it's.
I know, but it's
they
like
say-
Agnes. Agnes. I think,
Yeah, it sounds
something
like they're
that.
saying and. It is okay. Okay, it's not me. Good, I'm glad. But
It's like
it's spelled
League, but like Agnes. You know,
Agnes. Maybe it is Agnes,
Ag-
but it's spelled.
Agnes.
We would in America would say Agnes.
Agnes, yeah.
But they don't say it like that in the movie. So thank you for But there is this thing about her performance that's outstanding. All of the performances on this list, I think, are really Oscar worthy. I think they're all really great. Now, people are
but I will. Okay, there's a couple things that I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be the person to say that like Emma Stone is Emma Stone, and she just put in yeoman's work on Begonia. Like
yeoman's work.
yes, she got the assignment. She did the assignment, and that is something. Sure, yes, that's something to be celebrated. But I think that there may have been other performances that could have been raised up in this position. Whereas the other ones, I feel like even Kate Hudson, like I just got done watching Song Sung Blue, and that movie is definitely a Craig Brewer movie. So like Craig Brewer is he did Hustle and Flow, and he did Black Snake Moan. He's a real like melodrama guy, and he's a real like, you know, turn it up to 11 type guy. And this movie did not need to be as manipulative as it was, but I felt like it has some really good performances. I think that Hugh Jackman did a fine job, and Kate Hudson, I can see why people were looking at her that way, and we're looking at her for this. But in the difficult Mom Olympics that is this category for more than half of it, I think that Rose Byrne she did an amazing job. Like, she had an impossible task, and it's hard for me to say. Also, she's coming from a lot of comedic acting, and I know that, I guess actors say it's harder to do comedy than it is to do drama, but I think that seeing her with a thankless job in this movie, which is to be the bad guy, but then also like she's just trying to be a mom. And okay, you can say that, but also like not every mom is perfect.
No, I'm not saying that.
And that's the part for me. It's like, I don't have to agree with everything that she does. And I don't have to be like, hey, maybe it's a good idea to walk out your hotel room and walk to your house and 30 minutes away while your child with a feeding tube is there. Like, I don't have to agree with that. And I wouldn't necessarily do that. But does the film open up a space for there to be empathy for that character? And I think it does. And I say empathy, not sympathy, meaning like I can see where someone could feel something, and then I would be able to understand that that's a possibility that they could feel that, not that I would feel that.
Sure.
But yeah, so.
And I also, I don't look at it as a judgment thing, even though I sounded very judgy in my tone. I get how I just came across, because that was my initial reaction. And then after I thought of it, because of her performance, I realized she's so in it, she's out of it. She's so in it, taking care of this child, that she can't possibly, can't define why it's happening. She can't define this is her life. She didn't want it to be her life. She makes it very clear this is not the child she wanted. She wanted the other one.
Yeah.
She wished she kept the other one, blah, blah, blah. And empathy, that's a completely different thing than sympathy. I see what you're saying. She's so in it that she's out of her mind that she will walk to her apartment and spend a half an hour smoking weed with another person, and then waking up.
A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, he was in The Highest to Lowest. Did you see that? The Spike Lee movie?
No, I didn't.
He's in a big chunk of the middle of the movie. Like,
oh, nice.
Oh my gosh. And he's great in both. He goes toe to toe with Denzel Washington, like literally toe to toe with Denzel Washington. And he does not back down. Yeah.
Good. Well, now I have to. I'm surprised I haven't. It came, it went, and
it was like in August or something.
I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it, to be honest with you.
No, it's good. But
Spike Lee.
Yeah, but all of that was pulled together by the writer-director Mary Bronstein, who is the wife of Ronald Bronstein, who's the co-writer and co-editor of Marty Supreme. And he's worked with Josh Safdie for a while, and he's been with Mary Bronstein for a while. And Mary Bronstein played the doctor that she talks to. Who's like, you need to bring her in, and you need to go to the meetings and all that stuff. And she led the meeting, that you were talking about.
Okay, so anyway, who will win? Who you would vote for?
I think Jessie Buckley will win, and I might vote for Rose Byrne. I think I would vote for Rose Byrne, because I think that that movie is a bigger swing than Hamnet is. And Hamnet's a big swing.
It's a fair assessment.
And they hold it on the tracks, and maybe that's my like giving Mary Bronstein her due on top of giving Rose Byrne her due.
Yeah, she's the one who's the face of it, though. So that's why, for better or for worse, she gets credit or she doesn't. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to make a couple of really quick points based on what you just said. I think it's a little hard to say anything about Emma Stone kind of just doing Emma Stone. I hear what you're saying, and I see that's how you see that, and I get that's how you see it. I don't see it that way. And I give you the example. I just saw it again. And I know you didn't particularly care for that movie as much as I did. But the scene at the end, and a little bit of a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen Begonia, when she turns and she goes, how many? How many of them? How many Andromedans? How many? Is a completely different character than, where's my hair? And then the way that she has to, you can see her action verbs working. You can see she's manipulating his ego. She's stroking his ego. She's making his ego the biggest thing in the room. You can see her doing that. And then when she flips and she kind of says one too many thing, and that's when he jumps across the table and runs at her and tries to choke her or chokes her. And I'll go back to it. I saw it a second time, and I was like amazed. You can see there is a second of just a blip in her eyes when he says, so you can't communicate with your mothership. There's a blip in her eye. And then she goes, what mothership? And it's there. It's like the flashes in Fight Club, to reference that again. Something is there. And of course, if you know the ending of the movie, when you see it again, you can see those glimpses of that's who she really is. And then when she's at the end of the movie and she's limping back to the office and
out of the ambulance.
Right. And before that, when she gets out of the car and she's got her coat on, she's still limping. He's with her at this point, and she's like, hello to the security guard. And then she kind of flips around to remind herself to be the professional she's supposed to be, and then has to go back to, it's not as uncomplicated as I think you made it sound. Not you, just a lot of people. I think it's a worthy Oscar nomination, and I will support it and defend it for the rest of my life. Kate Hudson, really quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, as far as Emma Stone is concerned, like, I feel like I hope that people aren't like, well, Emma Stone was in a movie and it was an artsy movie, so let's put her in there.
Nope.
Okay.
No. Have you ever heard me say that about anybody ever? Have I ever said, oh, well, it's Emma Stone. She's in a movie. She's going to get the nomination. What did I say? If she gets the nomination, which I think she will, is what I originally said, it's because of those things that I just said. It's a complex character, and Jesse Plemons probably should have been nominated too, but who to take off is always the question at this point. Who to replace? Who would he replace? But she does the impossible. She has to hold it down. He gets to be, but she has to be the reaction. And how she reacts is important. And then the moment when she's crying and they're watching her on video, and Jesse Plemons goes, she knows you're watching her. And you're like, is she really faking that? Is she really crying? And even after you know the ending of the movie, you're like, I think she's really crying. But I think she's really crying because she's at wit's end, but she's utilizing that and manipulating them to feel sorry for her. So real quick about Kate Hudson. I know there's a cynical nature to being human beings, and I get it. And sometimes that cynicism is a defense. And we sometimes, with huge emotions, become very cynical and think they're melodramatic. They were, no doubt. But it's a movie about two people in a Neil Diamond tribute band. First of all, who are real human beings, Midwesterners who have certain dialects and certain styles and certain ways of living. They are real human beings. It's like this is a weird comparison, but you see those Jersey Shore people and you go, nobody talks like that. Nobody acts like that. Then you go to Jersey and then you go to the shore and you see cars with people's names on it where the line goes around. Sookie, whatever her name is. Snooki, right. Those are two characters' names from two other shows. Vinny. And those people really exist. And they're not necessarily stereotypes. They are just who they are and where they come from. And I think that Kate Hudson has some really mesmerizing moments. And it's not the moments most people would call Oscar bait. And I also think that's a little unfair. Just because somebody's dealing with an accident or tragedy or whatever. I thought the movie was going to be way more happy than it was.
Me
I
too.
had no idea it was going the direction, and I was almost mad about it.
I was kind of like, I was mad that it was like bang, 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 bang. It was just like, it was kind of like you go through the first like 30 minutes and then it's a 2-hour long movie. And then, it's just like one after another, different things.
Yeah.
And they space them out like in television episodes. It's like, this is the TV episode cliffhanger. And then the next one is 20 minutes later.
100%, but that's not Kate Hudson's
It's
fault.
not. It's not her fault at all.
And
that's why I said it's a Craig Bloom movie. I didn't say that. Kate Hudson made this a melodrama. But
right. But people are going to peg that on her because they're going to call this Oscar bait, and they're going to say this is why. This is the cynical side of the Oscars, or this is the cynical side of human nature to say that she took this performance on to get an Oscar nomination. First of all, I don't think people really do that. Second of all, if they do, I don't care because I get it. But I think her Oscar nominatable moments happen in the very beginning of the film before any of the tragedy happens, which I almost thought was a joke when the car hit the house.
It's shot as a joke.
I was like, Yeah, it's kind of shot as a joke.
Yeah.
And I think that's to back up how it gets shot the second time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third time when she actually goes, okay, and she actually gets to plant the plant while somebody's watching at the end of the street. I mean, it is comical, but it is like what's going to happen a second time. It happens a second time. And I looked it all up. Those are all facts,
Jeez.
right? That all happened to those people. But in the moment when she's playing Patsy Cline in the beginning of the film and she turns around and she's kind of flirting with him and she's kind of innocent and she's kind of a little naive, if you will, but actually she's not. She's in complete control of that scene. And I thought it was endearing and I thought it was a sweet thing. So I'm glad she was nominated. That's a long way around going, Jessie Buckley's winning the Oscar.
Okay, I can see that. I can totally see that. All right, Best Director, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I'll go. Paul Thomas Anderson will win, and I think Paul Thomas Anderson should win. Although you could definitely make a case for Ryan Coogler or Chloe Zhao. I think that Josh Safdie did a lot with the budget that he had in this movie, and he got this movie made, and I thought that was pretty cool. But once again, I feel like Josh Safdie has a lot left in his career. Same thing with Ryan Coogler too. And with Paul Thomas Anderson, like, I don't know when he's gonna get a budget this big ever again, and I don't know when he's gonna get as much carte blanche that he had. So I think this happened with Magnolia. They pretty much like rolled out the red carpet for him for Magnolia. He did get an Academy Award nomination for Tom Cruise, but and for Julianne Moore, yeah.
And I think picture and screenplay.
Did it get picture?
And I'm pretty sure it did.
Because there was only 5 pictures. Yeah, I can't remember. But either way,
I'll look it up.
Either way, I think that all of that put together, he hasn't made it this close since There Will Be Blood, and there just so happened to be a few good films and another amazing film that year in 2007 in No Country for Old Men, and so he didn't.
Terrible.
Yeah, he didn't win. I mean, it won Best Cinematography. It won There Will Be Blood, but he didn't win Best Director, and it also didn't win Best Picture. And I think that when he made Phantom Thread, I feel like he did get accolades for that. But I think that since then, he's kind of like decided that he's going to do what he wants. And I think that this movie is a movie that is what he wanted. It's a Thomas Pynchon loose adaptation. And it's what he wanted to do. And he got the most amount of money to make it. And it seems like he had a lot of fun making it. And it is so well done. And it's infinitely rewatchable. So I would love for this to be the Academy Award that he wins, if in fact he will win an Academy Award. So, yeah.
Which you are strangely still in doubt of, which is odd because when we started this podcast 11 years ago, I'll try to find.
Look at the best look at my favorite directors. None of them have won Best Director Oscars.
And Josh, look me into the eyes and say, after me, this year that changes.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson will win this Oscar. And if he doesn't, then you can.
Then
use
hopefully
this
it's Ryan
Coogler.
I mean, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. That's the consolation prize to the fact. But first of all, let's statistically break it down. He won everything else.
Yeah.
PTA has won everything else. Now, that's happened before with Ben Affleck, and he wasn't even nominated for Best Director. So, yeah. Correction. Tom Cruise, Screenplay, and Amy Mann were nominated for Magnolia.
Okay.
So PTA was nominated for that. Julianne Moore, Screenplay, and Burt Reynolds were nominated for Boogie Nights. So I think PTA has had a Screenplay nomination almost all the way down until this time.
Okay.
So I'm pretty confident in saying Paul Thomas Anderson will win, and he will deserve to win.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is everything you said it is. It's funny. It's odd. It's off-centered. It's sexually weird.
It doesn't work on paper. Like if you wrote it down on a napkin, somebody would be like, I'm not going to give you $170 million to make this movie.
You want the cars to go up and down so you can't see over the hills? What is happening in this last chase scene? It's a chase scene. What is happening? And I will say this, and I've been wanting to say this for a minute now. Just a side note, Chase Infinity. I wanted to talk about that during Best Actress. I think they promoted her in the wrong category. She should have been in supporting actress category. She would have been nominated. She's only in the last 35 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Not that time has anything to do with it. She's just so electric and so alive and so right in Sean Penn's face, right in Leonardo DiCaprio's face, right in all of those people's faces, not necessarily in a defensive way, in a loving childhood way, sometimes with Leonardo DiCaprio. She is a light, and she will one day win an Oscar. I think they promoted her in the wrong category. I think she was in a supporting actress category. It'd be a different world. That said, it's Paul Thomas Anderson's year, and I'm good with that because I think this is a masterpiece. I was watching it again going, this is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. This should not work. Side note, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, I've repeated 1,000 times now that film just should not work.
Nope.
It just shouldn't work.
Right.
It just shouldn't work. And everybody got it. Everybody got it. So if he wins instead of Paul Thomas Anderson, I think it'll be the shock of the night. Okay. The only other big shock, I don't even know if the only other big shock that could come, the only other precedent setting shock is if Jesse Buckley doesn't win. That'll be huge. All bets are off after that, which is exciting because we just don't know this year. There is no locks completely, which I think the exception of Jesse Buckley. So that said, I think Paul Thomas Anderson will win, and it's a struggle, and I think this is an impossible thing to say. Who I would vote for is PTA only because it's the first one of the two that I saw. That's the only reason.
Okay.
Because I could very easily vote for Ryan Coogler. Very easily. And I'm sticking with PTA because it's PTA. And listen, I would love to be wrong as much as I would love to be right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, Best Picture, The Secret Agent, Marty Supreme, F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Begonia, Train Dreams, Sinners, Hamnet, and Sentimental Value.
Not a stinker in the bunch.
No, they're all good. I mean, they are all engaging. I will say that. And so I would say that my vote would go for One Battle After Another, but I think there's really a chance that Sinners could win. And I wouldn't be mad about it.
Not at all.
I think that
it's exciting.
Yeah, I think that Paul Thomas Anderson's perfectly fine if this movie does not win Best Picture. I think that all of the people involved would probably be okay with it. Whereas I think Sinners winning Best Picture, it canonizes it permanently, without question. You can't say oh yeah, remember that movie? No, it's gonna be on all the lists, and it's gonna be inevitable that it's going to live out and that people are going to be drawn to it if it wins Best Picture. And just the fact that it's got so many nominations says something right there. But if it won Best Picture, I think that would be huge and exciting. And also the fact that Ryan Coogler will own the rights to the movie after 25 years. It will be his property instead of it being the property of Warner Brothers. And the fact that Warner Brothers agreed to that and all of that, and not it's the first time it's ever happened, but it's the first time it's ever happened for someone who's not Christopher Nolan or someone who's not Steven Spielberg. So that being said, I think that, that can be maybe a precedent-setting thing. And on top of that, it made a lot of money in the theaters. It made a lot of money.
It is beloved across the spectrum of people that I've talked to.
Yeah.
Beloved. And not just because they loved the film, but because it was engaging and intriguing and all the things that we've said about it up to this point. So I will say this. I just had this flash of, well, what if everything happens in reverse? Remember how I said Ryan Coogler wins original screenplay and then maybe nothing else happens? And then I said, well, unless the big one happens with Michael B. Jordan, and then that will be a great win. But like Pulp Fiction, that's the only one that it won, right? So What if that's in reverse? What if Paul Thomas Anderson wins his Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay? He's got an Oscar,
but
doesn't
nothing
win
else.
any of the big. Yeah,
I can see that.
mean-
I can totally see that.
I mean, and it goes to Delroy Lindo, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, cinematography,
Ryan
blah, 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 blah,
Coogler,
blah.
yeah.
Ryan Coogler, and he doesn't win the original screenplay, and it goes to Sentimental Value because they want to honor that film one way or another, and then he wins the big two, director and picture. It would be huge, and here's the thing. This is why this year is so impossible, because it will deserve it. The proof is on the screen. The performances are on the screen. No one can say, oh, it won because of this, or it won because of that. They cannot deny that if Sinners wins, it's on the screen. There have been some clapbacks about how, did it really need to be a horror picture and a vampire film? Could it just have been one thing and just been the other? And I was like, first of all, you're missing the point. The point is it can be all of those things. And the fact that it is all of those things makes all of those little things that much more interesting and important. If it was just a history lesson, we've seen that. I'm not saying
you can make a documentary
to tell that story.
Yeah, you can make a documentary about it. And they have made documentaries.
And vampires not being allowed into, we've seen it. There's been shows. We have decades. We've seen it. But to blend the two seamlessly is impossible. That's why this podcast should be Oscarcast Impossible 2026, because it's just, so I will be happy either way. I will be strangely just a little bit more excited if Ryan Coogler wins, if Sinners wins, just a little bit.
Best picture. Okay.
That said, yes. That said, one battle after another will win. I would vote for Sinners. There's my official take.
All right. Okay. So we flip-flopped that one. All right. I think that's it for the big ones. I will bring up a couple things, I guess. I watched Surat in the theater, which is the Spanish international picture nominee. And it also got nominated for Best Achievement in Sound. And I'm still thinking about that movie. I don't know if I understand it all, but I'm still thinking about it. And it's just very quickly, it's about a father and son who are looking for his daughter and his son's sister. She was last seen at a rave, like these roving raves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so the sound does play a very heavy part in it, not just in the rave scenes, but in other scenes. And it's totally unpredictable, but it's definitely a ride, and it does make you think. So, yeah. It's engaging. It is engaging emotionally and sensorially. So yeah. So check that out. And other than that, I think that I've seen a good amount of the Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, and Surat were all nominated for an international film. So I got close on that one. Seeing all of them, but.
Yeah, you did better than I did.
All right. So Oscars next this coming weekend, and we'll see how we did. You can check us out on the web at actorandengineer.com. You can go to facebook.com/actorandengineer.